Hello, my name is Gabe Bodner with Premier Mortgage Group, and I'm the Reverse Mortgage Division Manager here.
And I'm David Cox. I'm a loan officer here at Premier Mortgage. One of the things that Gabe and I are here to talk about today is a conversation that's coming up a lot recently with a lot of the clients that we come in contact with. These clients are either nearing retirement or potentially in retirement, and looking at the different home options for them, whether it's their existing home or a new home. Are you seeing that same type of kind of concern or question come up with the clients that you interact with?
Yeah, David, it's very, very common right now. Statistically, almost 50% of baby boomers actually plan to move at least one more time in their life. And the reasons that we're finding that people actually want to still move, and that ultimately people want to age in place, and they want to be in their homes for the rest of their lives, ideally. But the reasons that we're starting to see is that they want to be closer to family, whether it's kids or grandkids, right? They want to be in a home with less maintenance. So whether it's kind of a zero lot line or a smaller lot with less of a yard, but less work.
Less maintenance.
Yeah, less maintenance. And the third biggest reason right now is that people in a multi-story home, bi-level or a two-story with a basement, just want to go to a single story, want to go to a ranch-style home where they have less stairs, so as they age, they don't have to worry about stairs.
More appropriate home for aging in place then, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're talking with these clients, what are some of their hesitations as far as why they are not going ahead with the move and maybe pushing it off?
Yeah, another great question. I think the number one reason that we're finding is a perception that they can't, number one, and we just have to kind of peel back the reasons and the layers as far as why they feel as though they can't. And what that comes down to is a misunderstanding of the costs associated with doing this, the cost of selling, the cost of realtor fees, right? And potentially getting into a more age-appropriate home in some cases is actually more expensive, and they don't want to increase their mortgage payment. They don't want to have to increase their cost of living or their overhead as they're moving into retirement where income's actually less in most cases.
So potentially increasing the cost but decreasing the income, and that creates a challenge, right?
It does create a challenge.
So I think we have an example here that you were going to run through as far as a solution to that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So as David just said, so what we've done here on the board, and I'm going to talk through this, but we've created a scenario, and this is, again, just one example, please know that, of where you've got a client who owns a home that's, let's call it $700,000 estimated value or sales price today. They have a mortgage balance of $150,000, okay? So if they were to sell this house for $700,000, pay off the $150,000 mortgage with realtor fees and selling costs, they're going to have net proceeds, usable cash at the end of their sale, paying off the mortgage, of about $508,000. So they can go out and buy a house for $500,000 cash, right? But in many cases, that $500,000 house is not accomplishing the goals that we just talked about of being closer to family, having less maintenance, maybe even a newer home, ranch style, is sometimes going to be more expensive, right? So as we transition with this $508,000 to an $800,000 purchase price, right, the question becomes, how do we do that? There's a gap here, right? So there's about a $300,000 gap between what they have on hand from their sale and what their new purchase price is in this example.
And so they're concerned going from a $150,000 mortgage to potentially a $300,000 mortgage.
That's right. That's right. They're doubling their cost. They're doubling their expense by moving into a more expensive house. And that's the number one concern that people have. And so we've got some options, which is really nice to be able to have options, right? So again, paying cash, they can go out and buy a $500,000 house with cash, but if they're looking at an $800,000 house, the way to do this is to use other financial resources, right? So they have, a managed account, right? They have a cash value life insurance. They have IRA or 401k funds, something in a nest egg that they're going to pull money from to make the difference here in the $300,000.
Which then is going to lower their income stream in retirement, which is obviously a concern.
Absolutely. So they're pulling money from here to put it into this bucket of home equity, which is illiquid, right? So it's certainly an option, but in my opinion, really, ideally, not a great option, okay? Unless you just have a surplus amount of cash, then that might be an option for you. So the next option is a traditional mortgage, right? So they can come here, we can get them a $300,000 traditional mortgage, $300,000, at current rates. What's that principal and interest
About
payment?
$1,500 a month for principal and interest.
Okay, so they'd be looking at $1,500 a month to do a traditional mortgage. Call that $18,000 a year of after-tax income required with taxes. They need somewhere around $22,000 of income to service this mortgage.
Drawing out of those retirement buckets.
Potentially either from Social Security or a retirement bucket, right? So this becomes a more expensive option, once again, than staying in their current home. So this becomes a challenge. So I look at this and say, well, this isn't really a great option either for someone who wants to transition in retirement. So the third option, and what I believe is the best option, is a reverse mortgage. Right? So a reverse mortgage would allow them to purchase this new home. And they can finance, depending on their age and current interest rates, they can finance about $300,000 of this $800,000 purchase price, put the $500,000 down as a down payment, and left with zero mortgage payment for the rest of their life. For as long as they live in this house and continue to occupy the house, pay property taxes and homeowners insurance, they can literally not have a mortgage payment. So they're preserving their cash, they're preserving their income, and they still get the pleasure and the satisfaction of home ownership, and any home appreciation in the future, they get to take advantage of as well. So in my opinion, the reverse mortgage is truly a fantastic option for folks that, as you described, are transitioning into retirement and looking to find the right home that they're going to age in place in.
It's a great option for retirement planning. Instead of just looking at 401ks or IRAs or Social Security, this is another option that is fantastic for them to find that age-appropriate home closer to children, closer to family, like you said, low maintenance. So it sounds like it's a fantastic scenario for them to get that right home.
Yeah, I think you're right. So thanks, David, for bringing this up, and we really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and to listen to us. You'll find our contact information on the screen, and we'd love the opportunity to chat with you. If you find yourself in this scenario and you want to give us a call, we'd love the opportunity to go through with you. Complimentary consultation with no obligation whatsoever.
Yeah, we'd be happy to sit down and look at the specific options with a traditional mortgage as well as a reverse mortgage. Really show you the numbers to help guide you as far as what's going to be the best decision for you now as well as down the road.